Okay, so let's just address the elephant in the room. I haven't uploaded in a week. As you can tell, I am not in my same office. I have moved. That's why I haven't been able to upload. Been very busy. But that being said, I need to talk about what's gone on before the trade deadline. As we know, it's approaching in what is less than 24 hours now for you guys at home, and I haven't been able to make singular videos on all the moves being made, and honestly, I'm not going to be able to tomorrow either because I'm headed down to Washington, D.C. with my co-host of the Mets Up podcast, James, along with Jolly Olive and the John Boy guys who are sending us down there, which is awesome. Can't wait to do that. DeGrom's first start. So I figured I would go ahead and cover all the trades that have happened thus far to this point. It is now 9:53 p.m. on the East Coast in New York City. So let's go ahead and just talk about them because trade deadline eve and, well, the Luis Castillo trade day, they've been crazy thus far. This has been one of the crazier trade deadline pre-days that we've seen. I mean, we saw Frankie Montas traded, we saw Josh Hader traded, we saw Trey Mancini traded, and of course, before that, we saw Luis Castillo. There's been some big names, there's been some big moves. I want to talk about all of them. I guess calling it one of the craziest is maybe a little ridiculous, maybe a little bit dramatic, you could say, but there has been a lot of big name moves that have gone on that could be their own videos like I normally do on my channel, but because of the situation, we're going to have to do it this way. So as you can see, I'm trying to work and make sure that I can get these videos out for you guys still talking about baseball despite the move. And I get it. It's been a while. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. The baseball season is heating up, and that means you can get $20 off tickets at SeatGeek using promo code Giraffe. If you don't know what SeatGeek is, it's a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. I've got the app on my phone, and it is by far and away the easiest way to buy tickets. Whether it's baseball games, concerts, basketball games, preseason football, which is coming up, SeatGeek has you covered because it takes tickets from all over the web and puts them in one place to make the buying experience as easy and simple as possible for you. For me, I'm looking at that Mets-Braves series next week. It is a hot game, it's a hot ticket, and it's got playoff implications, so I gotta be there. SeatGeek, of course, is where I'm going, and I'm looking for those green dots because the green dot means it's a good score, it's a good seat, it's a good deal. I should buy it. When I see red and orange, I'm going to avoid those. And don't worry, I've got the hookup for you guys at home. Use code Giraffe for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek using promo code Giraffe. Make sure you click the link in the description and download the app today. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. So of course, you have the Andrew Benintendi trade going to the Yankees. You have Dan Vogelback and Tyler Naquin going to the New York Mets. But those aren't the ones I want to talk about. Also, I look so white right now. I need to lower this brightness a little bit here. Those trades have all been pretty good, like good pickup for the Yankees, good pickups for the Mets, but the real trade deadline chaos started when Luis Castillo got traded from the Cincinnati Reds to the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners, a team that are competing for a playoff spot that went on a huge win streak right before the All-Star break and have put together a pretty solid season on the backs of guys like Julio Rodriguez and Ty France, who have been the best players offensively on that team. But of course, pitching. You need to make sure you have enough pitching, and while I do like some of the arms that the Seattle Mariners have, I mean, Marco Gonzalez is consistently good. Robbie Ray obviously has Cy Young caliber stuff. Logan Gilbert has looked really strong at times, and I know I'm forgetting a few guys here and there, but they just have lacked that true ace of their rotation, and getting Luis Castillo, who is not a free agent, he's not a rental, he's going to be there for another year. He has another full season with the Mariners. I really love this pickup. The Mariners now became a very, very strong team. While their offense isn't the greatest, I think this does help out their pitching a lot and a pretty decent bullpen already for them. So just from that standpoint alone, I love that the Mariners are going for it. They've had that playoff drought and they haven't been able to make it in so long. So yes, getting a guy like Luis Castillo 100% helps them, and I think makes them a team that is more likely to make the playoffs now. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I don't even need to say that. That feels redundant. Now, let's talk about what the Reds got back because wow, the Reds got back a ton in this trade. I mean, an absolute ton. They got Noelvi Marte, who up until this most recent prospect ranking had been a top 10 prospect, and I'm still a believer in Noelvi. He might not play shortstop in the future, might be a third baseman, but the dude absolutely mashes and is one of the best young players in the entire minor league. So I'm a big Noelvi Marte guy, and the Reds just continue to add on top of that. They got Edwin Arroyo, who was a pick in the 2021 MLB draft out of Puerto Rico. He's a switch hitter and a switch thrower who has been tearing up A-ball so far in his first ever full season in the minors. Love Edwin Arroyo, someone that I was really high on at the draft combine, and someone who has completely outperformed what people expected thus far in the minors. A really, really good prospect who also plays shortstop. You notice what the Reds are doing here. They're trying to get strong up the middle while they are rebuilding, and I hate it because I think that team was closer to being good than bad before the season started. I gotta say, this is a pretty good haul back, along with Levi Stout, right-handed pitching prospect, who, while maybe isn't the highest highest on my radar. He's a guy that the Reds are a pitching machine. They've been able to generate these pitchers. I know they don't have Kyle Boddy over there anymore, but they clearly know what they're doing in terms of pitching development. I think a guy like Levi Stout could benefit from being there. And then you have Andrew Moore, who's a big right-handed relief pitcher who just throws some nasty stuff, striking out everybody in A-ball. He's a little bit older for the level that he was at, but the Reds take a guy who's got great stuff. I'm sure they'll be able to make something out of it. But again, the big haul here was Noelvi Marte and Edwin Arroyo. I really do think that this was a pretty good trade for both teams. I'm not really sure if the Reds could have gotten more. Like, if you go to the Yankees, you probably get Peraza and maybe Wisniewski, who is really good. Like, both those guys are good, or maybe even Waldichuk in there. You go to the Mets, you're probably getting Mauricio and Beatty if that's what you're asking for. Like, they definitely wanted a lot, and I do think that the Mariners and them made a good match. They made a good plan. They made a good trade, and both sides benefited from this. I was shocked to see Noelvi Marte go. I thought it was going to be him and J-Rod for the future, but Noelvi's off to Cincinnati. Then we saw some minor moves. David Peralta getting traded to the Tampa Bay Rays, Chris Martin going to the Dodgers for Zach McKinstry, and then Edmundo Sosa going to the Philadelphia Phillies. Whatever. I mean, these guys are going to help their teams. It's not something I want to go too deep into. I think the best one here is just going to be Chris Martin, because I do think he has pretty good stuff, has been a good reliever in the past. Dodgers just continue to get better and better pitchers every single year. I'm not talking about Dixon Machado being traded to the Giants. No. I'm not talking about Irae Adrianza being traded to the Braves. Here we go. We start to talk about this one. Scott Effross going to the Yankees from the Chicago Cubs in exchange for Hayden Wisniewski, which is who I talked about, or Wisneski. I need to pronounce that correctly. Hayden Wesneski. Scott Effross is a little bit of an older rookie, 28 years old, but he has 5 years of control until 2028. We've seen what the Yankees have been able to do with these relatively unknown relievers like Clay Holmes out in Pittsburgh and made him one of the nastiest guys in the league right now. Scott Effross has really, really good stuff and has been really effective for the Cubs this year, so he's a guy that they see who can be a long-term option for them in their bullpen towards the back end. I'm sure maybe not this year, but at some point in his Yankees tenure, I think it's a good move. And then for the Cubs, you get Hayden Wesneski, who is one of the Yankees' top prospects. He's basically MLB ready. He's pitched at AAA pretty much, I think, the entire year this season. 19 starts, 3.51 ERA with a whip at 1.49. The numbers aren't jumping off the page, but that's pretty good for a 24-year-old in AAA for a full season. The Cubs need pitching depth desperately. Their pitching's not good. At least he brings something a little more exciting than what they have. And then we got a bomb dropped. Josh Hader traded to the San Diego Padres in exchange for Taylor Rogers, Esteury Ruiz. There's a lot of players in here, so I got to make sure I get it right. Dinelson Lamet and Robert Gasser. Wow. I don't know. This one feels like highway robbery to me, honestly. It really does. Josh Hader is one of the best relievers, if not the best in all of baseball. This year, he's been a little bit hot and cold at times, but still at the end of the year, this guy is at worst, the second or third best reliever / closer in all of baseball. He's absolutely nasty. He's disgustingly good. And for the Padres, who have been having a little bit of trouble with their closer role, Taylor Rogers has not been as good as they thought he would be. He had been struggling. I think he actually got kicked out of the role. This is a really nice upgrade. And you're losing Taylor Rogers, who you didn't really seem to value anymore because he wasn't getting the job done. Dinelson Lamet's made 13 appearances this year, all out of the pen, and he's looked absolutely horrible. He's still got the strikeout stuff, but he's walking guys and giving up a ton of hits. Not particularly exciting. The Brewers, of course, love a guy like this because Dinelson Lamet's probably going to be sick out in Milwaukee, whether it's as a reliever or as a starter. They're going to do something good with him. But for the Padres, it just seemed like it was time to move on. And then you got Robert Gasser, who's a 23-year-old left-handed pitcher for the Padres in their organization. Second-round pick out in 2021. He's got some good stuff. I'm not particularly high on Robert Gasser like others, but again, it's the Brewers. It's a pitching factory. They know what they're doing. I'm sure he's pretty solid. And while Esteury Ruiz has been a really cool minor league player, I'm not really sure what his ceiling is just because of the fact that I don't know if the pop is actually real at the major league level. He's definitely a sick athlete. He stole, 60 bases in 77 games in the minor leagues this year, which is absolutely disgusting. But I'm not sure if the pop is going to stay at the major league level. He is a smaller guy. He plays a little bit smaller than he looks as well, I think, at times. I don't know. I'm not particularly through the roof with Esteury Ruiz, but obviously a great athlete and put up good minor league numbers. Brewers probably know what they're doing. I feel like this is not enough for Josh Hader, a guy that probably every team in Major League Baseball that is competing would like to get, because when he's at his best, he's striking out, 45 to 50% of the batters he faces. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He doesn't give up a lot of hits. This year, he's weirdly given up hits and home runs, but I think that just happens. He casually leads the league in saves at 29, and he's still striking out, 35% of the batters he faces in a down year. 41. It's actually 41%. Yeah, like, he's so good. I know that he's an upcoming free agent. I know the Brewers don't want to pay him, but you have control over him until 2024. This seems like a really good move for the Padres, and I'm not sure if I like this for the Brewers. I definitely am not a fan of this if you're a team that's competing like the Brewers are. Another huge trade went down. It was Garrett Cleavinger for Herman Tapia. No, I'm joking. Of course, that's not the one we're talking about. It's Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino going to the New York Yankees in exchange for J.P. Sears, Ken Waldichuk, Luis Medina, and Cooper Bowman. So let's talk about the Yankees real quick. Clearly, they had a plan. Clearly, they got the needs that they wanted. They went after Benintendi because they felt like they needed an outfielder because Gallo and Hicks just really haven't been great this year, especially Gallo. He's been bad. They wanted bullpen help with Michael King going down and Aroldis Chapman being horrible, and they wanted another starter because Severino went down. Frankie Montas, really good. Devastating splitter, really electric fastball. His stuff is disgusting. You're going to see him play in New York. He's going to be great for the Yankees. It's just he's been stuck out in Oakland for the last few years. So honestly, like, do you care that much about him? It's hard to watch Oakland A's baseball, especially this year. But Frankie Montas is a legit ace, I think, in my mind. And having him go behind a guy like Garrett Cole and a rotation with Nestor Cortez as well. Jameson Taillon, I know Jordan Montgomery hasn't been pitching well, but I think this adds a lot of depth to this rotation that the Yankees desperately needed. I think it's going to help them out a lot. And Lou Trevino is also a really good reliever. And the Yankees they know what they're doing with pitching. Matt Blake, is that his name? Matt Blake, he's one of the best in all of baseball. Ken Waldichuk, that was the biggest prospect in this entire trade. He's the number 3 prospect in the Oakland A's organization, but he's really good. I don't know, you got a little bit of a taste of him in the All-Star, or in the Future Stars game, I should say. In 76 1/3 innings, he struck out 116 batters, walking only 33, 2.71 ERA, and a whip at 1.14, and that's between AA and AAA. It's been disgusting. I really think Ken Waldichuk could be one of the frontline starters for this A's team in the future, and might even get a shot at some point this year. Luis Medina's got a very lively arm, someone that a lot of scouts have been very high on, another good pitching prospect that the A's add to their farm system, which is not the strongest, but recently, I mean, they've gotten Max Muncy in the draft. They got Gunnar Hoglund in the trade with the Blue Jays. They got Luis Medina, JT Ginn from the Mets, Ken Waldichuk. Like, I actually am starting to like their farm system depth a lot more than when they first started the year. And then you had JP Sears to it, who's maybe more of a reliever. I know he was making starts in AAA for the Yankees this year, but maybe he's better used as a reliever regardless. He's going to be someone that the A's probably try out this year. He got MLB time with the Yankees, and he looked really good. And then as for Cooper Bowman, he's a really athletic player, can play a variety of different positions, second base, shortstop, third base. He hasn't hit too much at A-ball this year, but he's a strong kid. He had a lot of hype coming out of the University of Louisville. I'm interested to see what he does out in Oakland. Fun fact, from Rapid City, South Dakota. Not many players from that area. Overall, really good trade for both teams. I think that this was a really nice haul for the Oakland A's, and the Yankees got Frankie Montas, who's just disgusting. I literally had to hit record on my camera again. It's been running so long, and we're like halfway through all these trades. The next one, 3-team trade. Houston, Baltimore, Tampa. Houston gets Trey Mancini and Jaden Murray. Baltimore gets Seth Johnson and Chase McDermott. Tampa gets Jose Siri. I'm not going to go too much in depth on the other guys. Let's just talk about Trey Mancini going to the Astros. Like, honestly, shout out to the Orioles, though. 2 good pitching prospects. Like those pickups. So I like those, and Jose Siri is exactly who the Rays want, an athletic outfielder who probably crushes lefties. But I love this pickup of Trey Mancini to the Houston Astros. Just be ready for Trey Mancini to pop off. He's going from Baltimore, which used to be a bandbox. He put up really good power numbers, to Baltimore now, which is impossible to hit a home run in as a righty. He's now going to Houston with those Crawford boxes. I mean, Trey Mancini is going to pop off. This is a huge upgrade to this Houston Astros lineup, whether you play him in the outfield, whether you play him at DH when Yordan needs a day off, whether you play him at first base, because Yuli Gurriel just particularly hasn't looked that good this year. I love this move by the Astros. I honestly thought they were going to go after Josh Bell, but now thinking about it, the right-handed bat, it makes way more sense to go after Trey Mancini. Play to your stadium, play to your needs, play to your strengths. Trey Mancini is going to eat out in Houston. I love this move for him. Great story, great guy. Wish the Mets got him, but he's going to do really well out in Houston. Love this pickup, and you gave up nothing. The Astros then made another trade with the team that they're currently playing right now, the Boston Red Sox. They got Christian Vasquez in exchange for, I believe, was Emmanuel Valdez. It's just an upgrade at the catcher position. Vasquez is solid defensively, solid offensively in terms of catching. You know, he's a good offensive catcher right now in this league, and especially compared to Martin Maldonado, he's leaps and bounds better. Martin just doesn't have it anymore. Machete, he's just not the same. He's old now. He's like really old. Christian Vasquez, a little bit younger, a little bit more spry, and a little bit better. I think this is just a big upgrade to this Astros team, who becomes, yet again, one of the most dangerous teams in all of baseball. The next trade has to deal with the Boston Red Sox. They got Tommy Pham in a trade, which is kind of bizarre. I almost feel like they're going to trade Tommy Pham to another team. Like, that's kind of what it feels like, because the Red Sox have kind of fallen out of it a little bit, and Tommy Pham has an expiring contract at the end of the year, so it doesn't make the most sense to me, but sure, go ahead. What are you going to do? I mean, Tommy Pham gets on base. He's just not playing well this year. I don't know. Red Sox got him. Whatever. Take it as it is. Kansas City Royals traded Emmanuel Rivera to the Diamondbacks for Luke Weaver. Sure, that's a trade. Emmanuel Rivera hits the ball hard. Luke Weaver, I'm waiting for him to be good. I think he's got good stuff. It's just never really come together for a full year. The Red Sox then traded Jake Diekman to the White Sox for Reese McGuire. So they've now traded for a guy who punches people in the face over fantasy football and a guy who has gotten arrested for in the parking lot of a Walmart. Interesting trade deadline day for the Boston Red Sox. But wait, there's more. Also, like that pickup by the White Sox. Jake Diekman, friend of the channel, UC Crone's brother like me, good dude. And I do believe in the time that I've been recording this, or just right before it, there's actually been more. Yes, Jose Quintana has been traded to the St. Louis Cardinals from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Live looking up to see if there's anything about him, what's going back for him. Okay, they're getting John Oviedo and Malcolm Nunez. Why do I know the name Malcolm Nunez? Is it just because I get his cards a lot, Malcolm Nunez? I feel like, okay, that's why. He's the Cuban. He's actually been hitting well in AA as a 21-year-old. Yeah, I actually kind of like Malcolm Nunez. 17 homers? Nice. For Jose Quintana, good pickup, Pittsburgh Pirates. Hell yeah. Let's go, Pittsburgh. Being smarter, working smarter, not harder. You're not making the playoffs. You're getting a guy who might be a real bat. I love that pickup. As well as they got John Oviedo, which that's a name that sounds like has been used in trades many times. I don't know why. It's Johan Oviedo. Bob, you got to remember the A, Bob. You got to remember the A. Okay, no, Johan Oviedo has not been used in any trades. Another Cuban, funnily enough. It's pretty good this year. I mean, he has a 3.2 ERA, a 1.3 whip. His FIP's at 4. He's been used as a reliever. I don't know much about Johan Oviedo, honestly, truthfully. But Pirates, I like the pickup of Malcolm Nunez, getting rid of Jose Quintana, who has been kind of good this year. Quintana did that weird thing where last year he sold out for strikeouts and he walked a ton of batters, but was kind of sneaky good, but also sneaky horrible. Because, I mean, he finished with a 6.43 ERA. Bad. His FIP was 2 points lower, but it still was bad at 4.66. But he was striking out 12 batters per 9 innings, which is pretty cool, just walking 5 of them. This year, he's kind of stopped with the strikeouts. He's much lower now, 7.8 strikeouts per 9, but he's cut down the walks, he's cut down the hits, he's cut down the home runs, and he's had a pretty good year. You go out to Busch Stadium where they play great defense. They have a big ballpark. I'm sure he's going to pitch really well. He has a FIP of 3.24 this year. The underlying numbers tell you Jose Quintana is probably going to pitch pretty well for the Cardinals. And in terms of trades, I think that's it. I'm going to refresh Twitter while I'm talking through the outro here. It has been a pretty hectic trade deadline eve. We had the Luis Castillo trade before this. The Mets made a couple moves. Andrew Benintendi. I wish I could make more videos for you guys because I know this week was a huge one and I haven't been making them, so I do apologize. I have an excuse. I've been moving. That is my excuse. I wasn't home. I was in Atlantic City. I came back. I moved into this apartment today. This is literally the first video in the apartment. I'm really excited for what's going to be coming, though. Now that I have my own apartment with no roommates, shout out to my boy Alex, my best friend. But that being said, I can now record videos whenever I want. I don't have to worry about being quiet. I don't know about my neighbors yet. I don't know if they're ready for the midnight videos from GiraffeNeckMarc. But that being said, I'm really excited for what is going to be coming out of this apartment for the next year or however long I'm going to be here. So I hope you guys stick around. If you did enjoy what you watched today, make sure you do drop a like on the video. I'm dropping this probably at midnight, which is a crazy time, but I wanted to make sure that I covered the trades because you guys have been asking me. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what you see. Like I said, I'm going to be on the train tomorrow during the trade deadline, but I'm going to try my hardest to do my annual live stream. It's just going to be on the train with Jolly Olive. You guys know him, good YouTuber, and the co-host of the Messed Up Podcast with me, James Shiano. He doesn't do YouTube videos, but he's a good baseball mind, so make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on that live stream. Literally going to be doing it live from an Amtrak train. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc, links in the description. Might do a little Twitter Spaces tonight, who knows? And that's where I'll wrap up the video. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Or actually, I won't because I'm going to be on the train, but maybe a stream. Bye.